Eating disorders in America are very common among teenage women because they idealize the depiction of perfection portrayed by the media, according to Brent 2008. Eating disorders have serious complications that we must address at an early stage. For this reason, maybe many of us have daughters, granddaughters, nieces, or know somebody that can suffer from this disease, but it is so secret that you might not even know it. So after extensive research, I have found information that is very alarming. According to the CDC, chronic diseases like osteoporosis and complications of your gastrointestinal, cardiovascular, and endocrine systems can be very life-threatening for these women. So here are some pictures of anorexia nervosa and some people that have suffered from it. As you can see, these pictures are very emotional because the physical changes that these women go through are very obvious. Of course, these are the longer stages, the long-term stages. But in order to effectively target those that suffer from eating disorders, we must take into consideration that we need to prove the research for these women to learn the consequences. And we need to identify the specific behavior that we must target. And we need to target that audience and use the appropriate advertisement theory so that we can get through these women. Let's consider the research to prove why eating disorders must be addressed at an early stage. First of all, according to the CDC, what we have already been talking about are those chronic diseases that may result from this early stages of eating disorders. Some of those are anorexia, another one is bulimia. And the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services reports that 3% of 13 to 18-year-olds suffer from this eating disorder. It is so secret that maybe somebody that we know that is close to us might be suffering it, and it goes unidentified for a long time. When it comes to identifying the behaviors, we have a few points. I have a few points that we need to take into consideration. We need to know the vocabulary that these women use. One of those are restricted eating, binge eating, purging, compensatory exercise, and fasting, according to Medline Plus 2020. The behavior target that we need to address is having them to get help, having them to get the help that they need. Seeking treatment may reduce the risk of all these consequences, long-term consequences, and can significantly lower the cost of treatment, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Next, let's talk about the audience and the type of advertisement we will use. Teens are very tech savvy, and they are the public that we are trying to talk to. These teenagers are very hard to catch their attention, so we need to use the activation model of information because it's going to allow us to do this. We're going to portray something that is very emotional, that is very graphical, because that's the way that we're going to capture their attention. We're going to create suspense, and we are going to accompany it by the facts and the information about the consequences that all of these behaviors can cause. In conclusion, the psychological effects of these disorders are very, very long-term and are very hard to overcome. But the physical complications are even worse because it could be long-term and it can even result in death. Eating disorders have serious, very serious complications that must be addressed at an early stage. And we're going to do this by research, identifying and impacting that audience with the right theory.